And we are live. Hello, everyone. We're just going to wait here a moment because I know we're going to have people joining from all over the place. So as you are coming on today, say hello to us. We'd love to know where you are watching from and how you found us in this broadcast, because I am so excited about today's topic. And I know we're streaming in a lot of different places. The comments are a little bit delayed here for those of you that are watching with us live, so bear with us. We will come back around and say hello to you. So Dr. Christina, thank you so much for joining me. I'm so excited about this conversation today. It's something that we've had so many sort of offline conversations about, and I thought, well, why don't we just share this wisdom and this knowledge with everybody out there who, of course, is willing to receive it. So I think we're going to dive in and get started. Everybody who is going to catch this on the replay, of course, let us know that you are here so we can say hello to you as well. So because we're coming to you from all over the place, I think it's really important that we do a little introduction. So my name is Sonja. I am otherwise known as Dietitian with a Mission. I'm a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and certified diabetes educator. All that to say, I'm here on this earth to serve humanity and to help them get better health. And, I think Dr. Christina and I have a lot in common that way. So the name of our video obviously is A Doctor and Dietitian Talk Personalized Nutrition, because I think that's a topic that unfortunately is not talked about enough today. And as Dr. Christina and I have talked, most of the time when you go to the doctor, and you'll relate to this, those of you that are watching, you get the prescription, you get sent out the door very quickly, and there's very little testing in terms of really why you are experiencing the symptoms that you are. So I am so excited to have Dr. Christina Campbell here with me today. She is from Michigan, and I'm going to let her share a little bit about her story, but she's a functional medicine physician who really found a passion for functional medicine after doing exactly what I just described, and that was writing many prescriptions. So Dr. Christina, thank you so much for being here with me today. Would you mind just sharing a glimpse of your story and how you ended up in this space of functional medicine?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually am board certified in emergency medicine, and I practiced in the ER for over 20 years. And I found the frustrating part of the ER was always the chronic illness side of it. So, saving lives is one thing, and you can jump in and do that, and that's amazing, and that's one of the best parts of the ER. But the other side of the ER, the flip side, is a lot of the medications and medicine cases are people who have chronic illness that are suddenly worse than they normally are, and they show up in the ER. And I became very frustrated with the system and the fact that most of these people are on 20, 30 medications and wondering why they don't feel well. While never really getting to the root cause of the problem or talking about anything they could do lifestyle wise that might change how they feel or what their symptoms are, or even just the number of medications they're on. As simple as something like vitamin D, how many practitioners are actually checking that? And that is, it's a master hormone. It's a huge vitamin. It controls a lot of chronic disease. So and most of us are vitamin D deficient, simply because we don't get out in the sun the way we used to. And when we do, we put on sunscreen. So, this is the kind of stuff that I started to see and get frustrated with. And I found a lot of, I was very frustrated. So I started doing a lot of research and deep diving into these root causes. And I kind of found my passion for holistic medicine. And really my whole journey has been, I've always been open to learning this stuff. It just simply wasn't something that was taught in my medical school, and I had to teach myself. And the more I learned and applied to my own life, the healthier I got, the healthier my family got, the more I thought, everyone needs to know this. Everyone needs to know, because, there's so much we can do to improve our health and, from a functional standpoint.
I love that, because I think, as a
dietitian, I retired 2 years ago from the ER, and here I am.
I love that, because as a dietitian, I can relate to that story. I was also trained sort of in the conventional method of, everything comes from food. There's no need for supplements. There's, a whole different philosophy toward conventional medicine, conventional nutrition. The other thing I learned along the way, which is why I appreciate our relationship so much, is that most doctors know about this much about nutrition, and admittedly so, in the majority of them that I talk to. And so I really appreciate working with physicians in functional medicine because we speak the same language and we have a passion for uncovering what is going on with an individual, yes, but then also finding a solution for them, because, or solutions, I should say, because it's never just one thing. But there's no reason why, as a physician, you should have to just prescribe drugs. We want to know what is going on at the root and why on earth a person is experiencing the symptoms they are. So that's where obviously our roads meet. And I think it's so warming to hear from a physician that nutrition is a powerful part of everybody's health journey. And so I would love to hear a little bit more about your philosophy, because we're going to talk a little bit more about personalized nutrition and why that's so relevant and different based on everything else that's out there. So before we get into that, I would love to hear a little bit about your thoughts on testing and why just, taking every supplement under the sun is not the right thing to do, but actually knowing what is going on with your body. So would you talk a little bit about the importance of testing and as it relates to the people that are watching today?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the things there's a couple of things that I see often going on in a lot of the fitness industry, and that is, biohacking, right? And recommending certain supplements for this, for that, for the other thing, but never talking about the person who's going to be taking that protocol or doing that protocol. And we all come to the table with a different set of DNA, every single one of us. And a different environment. And so what's really important is to realize that each one of us is an individual person with an individual environment, with an individual set of DNA. So now you can't really take a generalized protocol and know it's going to work for you, because it doesn't make sense. It's like recipe medicine. It's the same problem that we're having in medicine, where it's just, okay, if you have chest pain, you get a statin, you get aspirin, you get this. But we're not talking about the individual person and what can be different. It's the same thing here, more from a functional standpoint. So when you start to realize that your DNA and where it meets environment come together, that little area where both my hands meet, that's the area that testing and that you can really impact your, not only your genetics, what you can't change, but your, the environment that your body is working in. So the testing is amazing. And epigenetic metabolomic testing is one of the first things I do with all of my patients, because it gives us so much information. It gives us information on all of the metabolic pathways that are going on, the biochemistry, and not to get too geeky, but it points us to cellular metabolism, to mitochondrial dysfunction, which is those little energy things in each little cell. That's our little batteries in each little cell. It even can point us to gut dysbiosis, or to, leaky gut, or some of those other terms that you guys hear being thrown out. But a generalized epigenetic test can give us a ton of information in one little place. So, and it really makes a huge difference for the specific person, because, and you even if you look at twin research, two people with the exact same kind of DNA who grow up in two different environments have completely different health issues. Someone may be completely healthy and the other one, and they have these same DNAs. We're really not stuck to our DNA as our prescription for how our life is going to be. It's the combination of those two things. And that's what makes individualized, personalized medicine and testing important. And you may be taking $600 worth of supplements that you don't even need, right? Because you're just guessing. Why would you guess? It's more important to know what you need and then fill that need. That just makes more sense. And why throw your money away? Why not focus it on what you truly need?
That is so true. And I think the thing that I really love that you just said was that, and I use this example all the time, that, you have twins with the same DNA, and, we were once taught that your DNA is your destiny. And if you have bad genes, you are doomed. Like, you're game over, right? But why is it then that, certain people, because of lifestyle behaviors, have a completely healthy life, whereas their twin has, smokes and drinks and lives in a smoggy environment and doesn't take care of themselves, has horrible health, and yet their DNA is the same. So there's a lot of relevance, of course, to DNA as the predisposition to who you could become, but it's not your destiny and who you are. So definitely.
I just want to say this one little thing. So I always look at it like a light switch, right? Like that little switch on the wall, it's there. It's always there. And if you treat it well, you can keep that turned off. But if you do the wrong things, you flip that light switch on. It's kind of like turning on that DNA or triggering that bad DNA. So it's a nice, easy way to look at it, to think of it.
That's such a perfect analogy. No, I use that all the time as well, too, because you have control of the light switch, and your DNA is the same way, to the degree that, for those of you that aren't familiar with the big long word called epigenetics, it's really a very simple way of saying how your genes are expressing themselves. So are they behaving badly, or are they doing some good things? And that's what we have control over. So, wow, that was really a great level of understanding of why that testing is so important. So we take the concept of testing, because we know that testing gives us a lot of information. But what I always tell people and clients that I'm working with as a dietitian, that testing is wonderful, knowledge is power, but it's kind of the roadmap for the what to do. And what I love about this concept of personalized nutrition is that once you are tested and you know what is wrong, what is misbehaving in terms of your genetic behavior, you have the ability to take control and fix the problem. So now tell me, from your perspective as a physician, when you uncover these things about a person that you're working with, a patient, you have this roadmap, this knowledge, obviously can turn in a lot of different directions. So why would you as a physician start with personalized nutrition before all these other things that are out there? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? What fuels our body really is what we eat and what we drink. And really what we eat and drink and consume is what we become on a cellular level. So it only makes sense to start there. And starting with, lifestyle changes in how a person is eating really can impact every aspect of our health. And, decreasing the amount of inflammatory foods that you're taking in, increasing your nutrient dense foods. All of those things can be really impactful as far as your health, and really has to be one of the starting points. If we're doing everything else, if we're exercising and we're going to, we go to the gym and we do infrared and we do all these other things, and there's a million biohacking things that we could be doing. If we're doing all of that, but we're eating like crap, we're not really going to get very far.
True. I just had this conversation with somebody yesterday. I was talking with a client. And, she said, well, how do I fix X, Y, and Z? In other words, these symptoms that she was having. And I said to her, do you know why you're having these symptoms? First of all, it was like, have you been tested to see why you're having these symptoms? Because just having these symptoms is not normal, right? You're not supposed to walk around in this earth with icky symptoms. And there are reasons and root causes behind things. So the first thing I said was, A, have you been tested? And then we got into, and of course the answer was no. And then we got into a big discussion around, well, I'm really not good about my dietary changes, so I take all these supplements. And, my comment to her was that your supplements are a complement. They are not here to replace what is on your plate, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and any snack you have, right? The food is medicine. The food, first and foremost, always needs to be there. The exercise, all of these lifestyle things. But what I've learned as a dietitian about personalized nutrition, and this is where I really think your expertise is valuable as well, is that once we have the roadmap and the testing that can give us this valuable information of essentially what's off balance, because why do we need to address something that's right? Let's address what's off balance. And once we have that valuable information, we now, in a kind of form of what I call nutrition meets technology, it's the year 2020, we're very fortunate that we can identify what a person needs, but then we can take that a step further. And it's what I refer to as a hand in a glove. So we can take the findings of the test and we can formulate a custom blended nutrition product that gives that individual, that patient, exactly what they need. And the thing that I love most is, as a dietitian, I was always taught food is medicine and supplements will never replace your food. And so the fact that we can converge that additional supplemental nutrition in the form of food, I think is absolutely brilliant. So whole food, plant-based nutrition, that your blend is completely different than mine, is different than everybody that's watching on this screen. And you said something very valuable earlier, that people are spending all kinds of money on this stuff and they have no clue if they need it or if it's the right one. Maybe somebody recommended it, a friend, or they read it online, there was a social media ad, whatever the case. People are like, oh, that one sounds like me, let me grab that one. But the reality is they just don't know. So do you find, from a physician's perspective, that your patients really appreciate using, a very simple once a day personalized nutrition formula?
Absolutely. So a couple points I want to say along the lines, is what I found in functional medicine. What I found is that you could have 10 people with the same diagnosis, be it diabetes, cardiovascular disease, Crohn's disease, some other autoimmune disease. You can get 10, 20, 100 people, and each one will have a different root cause of that disease. And so, if you go to standard medicine, you're going to get the same prescription no matter what. But if you come to a functional medicine doctor, you're going to find someone who realizes that just because you have this diagnosis doesn't mean that your cause is the same as everyone else's. And that points to the nutritional deficits, right? That in that biochemistry, where your deficiencies are may be totally different than someone else with the same disease. And so that's why it's an incredibly powerful tool to have a simple, targeted nutritional supplement, because it's targeted for you, for your specific situation, your specific root cause, not, Sally next door. And then the other thing is, we were not made to take pills. We just weren't. Our bodies were made to eat food, real food, normal food that God put on the earth, kind of a thing, not, stuff in capsules that, was made in a lab. That's not normal for us. And it's not to say that supplements don't or can't help, but it is to say that a real food supplement, makes a whole lot more sense because it works with our biochemistry and it's what we're made to take in. And so we take it in, it's much more bioavailable, if you will, using one of those big terms again, but something that's able to be, completely absorbed. You've heard, I'm sure you've heard the same, jokes that I have, about supplements and, your expensive urine, or your, your expensive number two. So moreover, right? Because it never comes in, it doesn't get absorbed. So food is really where it's at. And if you can do it with one scoop of a single supplement that's really aimed at everything that's going on, like, that's so powerful. And so many of my patients, I have them bring in, what supplements they're taking, and they will bring in not a Kroger bag, not like, they bring in like the ginormous Walmart, super size, I bought all my kids' Christmas present bag in with all of these bottles of stuff, and they're still sick, and so who wants that? And so exactly to your point, if you can find something that's targeted, one single little thing, a scoop a day, and you're done, that's pretty powerful stuff. And yes, my patients appreciate it. And they find that they feel, when they start taking it, they feel a total difference, within a few days or even within a week, as opposed to, supplements can take so much longer to really make an impact if they ever do.
I love that.
And really, it depends, but yeah.
Yeah, I think you said something so key. And what I always tell people is that it's not about what you take, it's about what you absorb and what your body uses. So no expensive urine. As a matter of fact, most people find that they start saving money when they really shift toward personalized nutrition, because to your point, they no longer have the big bag that they're bringing in, and they don't know. It's a little like the prescription bottles, right? So I have this one for this one for this, and a lot of times they don't even know why they're taking them. They just know that they have them lined up on the counter in the pill box, and they just take them. And when you ask them to define what each one is for, and I'm back on supplements now, they go, I don't know, the red pill I think is for this, and the blue one. And, as a dietitian, the moment they start saying red and blue and it's their supplement, I know that there's all kinds of artificial stuff in there. So in other words, we stopped taking those. But so it's about what you absorb. And the other thing that I think is so relevant is, number one, yes, things that are food-based, but also the absorption, because we're popping a lot of these things, and anything that has to travel through the digestive tract, of course, is like, there's a lot of stuff going on down there, in simple terms, for everybody that's watching. And so that pill is not always able to do its thing, or there may be certain genetic reasons, genetic SNPs, if you will, that are inhibiting absorption of certain nutrients. So I think this whole concept of using personalized nutrition and food as medicine is so brilliant. And I'm so grateful to hear that you're having a lot of great feedback from patients, because at the end of the day, we can have the best stuff in the world, but it's about the lives that we change because of the stuff that we share. And so I think, hearing from a physician into why this is so relevant is just so reaffirming for me as a dietitian. Are there any other things that you think you would like to add in terms of, for anybody that's watching, because most of the people that are watching now are not physicians, they're not dietitians. They want to know, what's in this for me? How is this going to change my life? So what kinds of things have you seen from patients who have actually experienced personalized nutrition and testing?
Well, as far as what they've seen from the nutritional supplements, well, and from the testing. So from the testing, it's an immediate eye opener to what's going wrong and what you need to address. And as far as the nutrition goes, I see people finding, it's super easy to take it, to do a smoothie a day with it. And they find, increased energy and focus. I'll tell you my husband's story, which is a great story. We started him on it during COVID when we were all, home, and he just changed into a totally different person. And I don't mean that to say he was a bad person, just like he had so much more energy, and he was just go, go, go. We got so much done around the house that we've been, putting off. And he lost, I don't even know how many pounds, a lot of weight. And he gained a lot of muscle, and he's flexing. He's like, I have a 6-pack, or a 5, started with a 4-pack, and then it became a 6-pack. And, that was a thing, but it's kind of a personal story. But I also hear from my patients, they don't tell me about their 6-pack usually, but I hear, I have so much energy. I can totally feel a difference with this compared to, other things I've taken. And then the other thing that I've heard, and I think this is really interesting, is over the course of 3 to 4 months, sometimes they'll say to me, oh my gosh, it's not working anymore. Like, I don't think I need this anymore. And the thing is that now we've filled that gap in the area of nutrition where you need it. And we pushed some cellular processes, some things along. So you need to retest and find out where we're at now. And then all of a sudden you find out, oh, it's a totally different blend now, because now I need something else. I fixed that problem. Now I have this other thing I need to fix. And so it becomes a dynamic process that just continues to improve how your body works and how you feel. And so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I always explained it as a moving target, right? Instead of keeping the same stuff year round, it's figuring out what you need, and then you take that for a while and ultimately retest every 3 to 6 months, because, based on what's going on in our world, whether a person is more stressed or they're gaining weight, losing weight, not sleeping, eating terrible, whatever those lifestyle behaviors are that have changed are directly reflected by the results of a test. And so that's where I think if anybody takes away anything today from this amazing, amazing wisdom you're hearing, it's, know what's going on in your body and address the right things. Leave the good things alone, but let's figure out why you're experiencing the symptoms you are, instead of just saying, well, this one's good for this one's good for that. And, I'm all about supplementation and helping people take their health to the next level. But as I always tell people, first things first, those supplements that you take can work very well with personalized nutrition. So it's not meant to, disclaimer, take everything away in your world, but you need to know what's going on first. You need to have that personalized formula that addresses what's out of balance. And then I know we've talked about this, and then, I want to get your thought on this real quick too, is if somebody does have something out of balance, let's say through their assessment, you find out their gut, they have a lot of dysbiosis or at least indication that you should test for that. Obviously, then you take that to the next level, and there may be other things that you as a physician need to add. Can you just touch on that for a second?
Absolutely. So when you do the epigenetic testing and you see that there's gut issues or gut metabolism or dysbiosis, which is pretty broad topic, really. It can be, something going on in the stomach, something going on in the gallbladder, something going on in the intestines. It can be imbalance in the microbiome or the bacteria, the good bugs and the bad bugs that are supposed to be living inside our gut that we hear about. The reason that you're hearing all about probiotics all the time now. And so you don't really know what you're going to address. Again, you don't just throw stuff at it. You need to know what is the actual problem. So then further testing, that could be stool testing, that could be, a SIBO, which is a breath test for a bacterial overgrowth. And there's a lot of different tests out there that might be the next best test. And really, again, it depends on what the information is that you're getting from the patient. And in functional medicine, I don't know if you've done the intake forms. I don't think you've done mine, but I mean, I give my patients a week to do it because I asked so many questions, and it's so in depth. So taking all of that information that the patient provides about their life and what they've gone through and what they've done and what they take and what they don't take and how they live, and applying that to the idea that there's something going on, and then figuring out what the next step would be, and then trying to make that financially feasible by, you don't have to test a million things. You test something, you address it, and then you move to the next step. And it's kind of like a path, a journey. If you think about stepping stones, taking a step by step towards a healthier direction as opposed to not so healthy.
I love that. I always call epigenetic biomarker testing a launching pad, right? So you land here and you test, and then you can launch in all these different directions and really have the ability to see what is going on with your health. And I just love hearing from your perspective as a physician that really is making a difference in patients' lives. So this was so helpful. And I know that we've got some comments here. Let's see, Katie says she's been on personalized nutrition and she's off a lot of her supplements because of that. So Katie and I have worked together, and she's been through some stuff. And she also had told me the other day she's grateful that she no longer has to swallow 14,000 pills because, of course, we all get a little fatigued in that area. So thank you for that, Katie. And hi, everyone else that's here. And so I want to be respectful of your time today, Dr. Christina, but this has been so valuable. How can people get in touch with you to learn more about what we talked about today?
Oh, they can. We can actually put a link in the comments below, but I have it's bit.ly/call Dr. Campbell. So really easy.
Well, we'll have to put that down there in the comments because I'll never remember all of that.
That's okay.
So if any of you would like the assistance of this brilliant physician, Dr. Campbell, go ahead and drop a comment down below. If you'd like to learn more about personalized nutrition, we have some opportunities for you to do so here on Facebook. We can add you to a group where we talk about all kinds of things as it relates to epigenetic testing, biomarker testing, and custom nutrition. And I am just so grateful that we've had this time together. So anything that you'd like to say to everybody out there in closing today?
Yeah, there's one other thing I want to mention, and it's something that when I've shared this with colleagues who are open and practicing functional medicine, and also to patients who are used to taking pills that have milligrams written on them. So we've kind of been brainwashed into thinking we need a certain number of milligrams of something. And if we can't quantify the milligrams, then we must not be doing the right thing. And physicians think that way too. And it's partly because of our training, and you can't really blame us. That's how we were trained in the beginning. And it's a mindset shift. It's really understanding the difference, right? And shifting your mindset to understanding that if you are putting all that targeted nutrition in a food, then you're good to go. And then retesting and then finding out, as we said, dynamically speaking. So I've had some interesting comments. Well, I've been trained to give 100 milligrams of this and this many of vitamin C and this much of this, and we're even training our functional medicine doctors still, right, in milligrams. So I think this kind of pushes that envelope a little bit further, and getting rid of that idea that pills are a thing. They're not a thing. They're really not. I mean, they're not. They shouldn't be. And it should be food. Food's a thing. That's what we're made to take in. And so in closing, I think that that's the most powerful thing here is targeted nutrition through food.
Food is medicine. And
yes, amen.
To summarize what you just said, I talked to a lot of providers who asked that question, and I wish I would have recorded just that little clip of you saying that, because I tell them, dump that out of your brain. Milligrams and micrograms and grams of whatever are not relevant when it comes to food. So I say this is really kind of in its own category. It's more of what I refer to as a bioactive superfood. So superfood is the key. So when you're taking a superfood, do you really know how many grams of a superfood you're supposed to have? I don't know. I have no clue. I just know that the more good stuff I put in and the less bad stuff I put in, the healthier I become. So it is definitely a process. It's a journey. It's a learning curve, not only for us as human beings and what we've been conditioned, but you and I as healthcare providers and what we've been trained in, and that everything is based on RDAs and FDA stuff. Right. And there's all these different, sort of putting us all in the same category or sandbox, and we're all different people. And right. Bringing it back to a close here with, this is really the year 2020, nutrition meets technology. We have the ability to help you figure out why you're experiencing what you're experiencing and make a realistic change that will benefit you. So all of those symptoms and side effects and icky stuff you suffer with no longer becomes an issue. So thank you, Dr. Christina.
Thank you.
If anybody here that is watching found value in this video, please go ahead and smash the share button. Share this with people that you would like to help as well. And again, if we can be of any support to you, drop the word group down below if you'd like to learn more about our program. If you'd like to connect with Dr. Christina, we will make sure her information is listed down below. And of course, you can find me here on Facebook. I'm easy to find. So thank you for your time, Dr. Christina, and we'll be live with you all again soon. Take care, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.